So now we're gonna move on to Impact / AEW because we do have to talk about Impact for a couple minutes. Impact was a Rich Swann called out Moose. Matt Hardy brought Private Party to the party, and they're challenging Chris Sabin and James Storm, who's returned because
damn Jimmy, I wanted you in NXT.
Everybody did, but because of Chris Sabin's partner getting hurt. James Storm has stepped up to be a temporary machine gun.
You know, have you... how much of 83 Weeks have you listened to?
I stopped listening. I stopped listening right around the time he got to the Roddy Piper story. Okay. So I just ran out of time.
It's either 83 Weeks with Bish, or it's I don't think it's Something to Wrestle with Pritchard, but they talk about James Storm, and whichever one it is, fuck it, I'm not going to plug you because you haven't plugged my show yet, even though I specifically asked Conrad to plug our show. They talk about James, and basically what they said for James is he has all the talent in the world. He's actually not terrible to deal with. He's pretty good. They say that his fear of his success is what has always pulled him back. So you telling me that he's back on Impact right now is almost a confirmation of his fear of success holds him back.
He was supposed to be on NXT right before the pandemic stopped him from going in.
That's what I thought that's the last big article I remember was James was on his way, and I was so excited to see him because I thought he could be that elder statesman style rookie, like Samoa Joe was. Right. He was going to be the Samoa Joe of NXT.
Right. So we had Eric Young defeat Rhino. You had Kimberly and Susan beat
Susan.
So it was Sue Young or Susie, but now her third personality is Susan. They beat Jazz and Jordan Grace. I really like Jordan Grace. Deonna Purrazzo was ringside for that match, so points for Ron there.
Yeah, nice.
Kevin, rather. And then, so Taya Valkyrie, her contract is up. Taya Valkyrie.
What happens with your roster?
So
your roster has just cannibalized itself.
So Taya Valkyrie was written off of Impact Channel.
Yeah.
Normally I wouldn't give two hoots, but you have got to hear how they wrote her off. She was a big part of the murder mystery.
I remember this. That's why I said I would never watch Impact again. And I know a little bit about what he's going to show me because I was trying to keep the draft honest and looked at some stuff.
So, first of all, Ty has looked better. She, when she left, it's probably been a while since you've seen her.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen her, and it looks like it has been a while since she has not seen Cheesecake.
So, while she was... Great segue. While she was at Lucha Underground and really started dating Johnny and whatever, she realized she had she had a poor body image, and she was actually killing herself with the way she was treating her body and not eating. A little bit of bulimia, if you will. So she let her body go back to the way it's supposed to.
You know what, hon? I'm not gonna retract my comment about what I just said. But also, take your health seriously and don't put yourself in danger to be the perception that other people have of you, because everybody's body is different. So
you are going to see this played. You will see this on the recap on YouTube. But I've cut this. This is like a three minute. I've cut it in places, but you've got to hear what.
And I'll definitely say with this too. Even with my joke, she is still very attractive.
Oh, she's extremely attractive. So this is obviously we've got.
We have Tommy Dreamer.
And
a whole bunch of schlubs.
This is the guy who was murdered, attempted murder, Johnny Bravo.
Is that a Chihuahua or is that a freaking gizmo?
It's a fake Chihuahua. He used to carry it. He used to be her ring. He used to be her ring bitch. He would carry her Chihuahua. This is Johnny Bravo. He was the one that was murdered, and this is one of the Deaners. I think he was the one. He was the one that was investigating everything. And this is a girl.
He still has his investigation cap on.
Right.
Murder solved, homie.
You're right. I did it. The only regret I have is that you didn't die.
Enough, guys. Good. she's lucky she'll go to Jacksonville State Prison, but for what she did, and she's not that lucky.
Luckily?
I think they're going to send her to Stanford Maximum Penitentiary for 2 years, maybe an option for 3, and trust me, that'll change a person's soul forever.
I hope they don't send her to Baltimore.
Do you get all 3 references?
How could I? No, please. Hit me over the head with the hammer harder about salty bitches about the WWE and AEW.
Well, what's the Baltimore reference?
Wasn't that where...
Ring of Honor.
I was like, that's...
Hopefully it'll send her to Ring of Honor. Well, Ring of Honor hasn't had a women's match in over a year, so no.
Yeah.
They
are they? I thought. Are they still in Baltimore? Are they in? Are they in Philly?
That's where they.
Okay.
I think that's where the home office is.
All right.
But yeah, I like the. Maybe she'll go to Jacksonville.
You mean maybe she'll get on a show that has viewers because your 90,000 people who watch you a week are that's the big game. That's where the big boys play, as WCW would say back in the day. But no, man, Raw pulling in like a 1.7 or SmackDown pulling in 2.3s, or even AEW getting 996,000 viewers a show. That would be a death sentence for someone.
It would suck to have to be around your husband again.
Yeah, oh my God, it would be awful to be around your family in an environment that... She would be awesome.
She would be awesome in
fine.
NXT.
Except for the fact that she was just in the worst fucking segment ever where she murdered someone who came back to life, who's alive.
Oh, the girl that
She should have burned him to death. That would have killed him.
And Rosemary, whose wedding it was, forgave her at the end of it. I didn't put that in the clip.
Who cares? Why are we talking about this show? It's because
it's my wrestler who's now in limbo and doesn't have a place.
You must want to go back to the pool then, man.
Rich Swann called out Moose in the ring, so Dad and Kevin got 2 points for them being in the ring.
Word.
TJP did a promo. I get a point. At that point in time, Brian Myers fought Falaba. So I don't know if you've ever seen Falaba.
No.
But Falaba, when he started wrestling about 3 years ago, was probably close to 400 pounds. He's down to like 280, 290.
Is that part of his success story? Is that
weight? He's just they don't actually ever mention it. It's just like, wow, this dude's lost a lot of weight, and you can tell.
So something that would endear him to people, which is why things like Biggest Loser and other thing made tons of money, is because people wanted a success story of someone who changed their life around that. But that would not be a thing to talk about.
But Brian Myers beat him, so. Oh, and apparently there was a backstage segment with I can't remember his new name, but Long Island IZ ran into Brian Myers, who are best friends.
Isn't it his real name?
Yeah, I don't remember it. I didn't write it down.
We're talking about Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder. So Zack Ryder runs into Brian Myers, who they are like best friends in real life.
Because they were on the YouTube show before.
Yeah, they hate each other on the show because. And then you get to the main event, which is Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Queen, otherwise known as Matt Hardy's kids, Top Flight or whatever the hell their name is.
Yeah.
And they beat Chris Sabin and James Storm. So
James Storm's returning match in the main event, being a Motor City Machine Gun, not going to WWE, and he loses. Please tell me he's the one who got pinned too.
I don't know.
But I bet he does. And now I remember why I stopped watching Impact.
So we now have an AEW tag team that are the #1 contenders to the Impact Tag Team Champions. Who is this helping again?
Lord. AEW. Because now they're getting the wrestlers on 2 different shows. So now technically there's 1 million people a week watching AEW people.
Oh, at one point in time, so Tony Khan and Tenay were actually there at the show, and Jerry Lynn is the reason that they won, because he tripped one of the machine guns. So they cheated, obviously. So speaking of AEW, let's talk about AEW.
Oh yes, let's talk about the things I saw.
Oh, wow. You'll have to let me know when you get to something you saw.
Yeah, trust me, I will let you know about the things I saw. So first off, I want to say this. I was reading an article for AEW because I wanted the win-losses for everything, so that way we can check our notes when we talk about the shows for our drafting points, right? Please remember that we are having a draft that is going on right now amongst our mutual friends, and you can play at home too. In the process of reading about what was going on, the title of the article was "A Rare Misstep for AEW." And I read the breakdown. I was like, no, that's every show. Every show has these problems. And the guy still gave it a 7.3 out of 10. And yet the funny thing is every match he basically was like, well, that sucked. There was a lot of blown spots. That made no sense. A 7.3, that does not make. A rare misstep.
So
please tell me about which left foot they stepped over this week.
Not going to say it was a great week, but it had some good stuff.
Yeah, I got about 3 segments that I saw that made me remember why I did not go out of my way to watch the show.
I'm guessing the first segment, which was
the first fucking match, was what I saw as well. You know what? I did see portions of the birthday celebration for -1. When I said do something with this kid, I didn't actually mean do everything with this kid.
But the way he ends it. The way this ends is almost kind of like your fantasy booking.
It's, you know what, I don't want to hate that because maybe it's just sentimental as like a dad.
Right.
You know, you just want to see your kids do something they're passionate about and be involved in it, and knowing he'll never see it makes it believable. And the fact that they are kind of doing something to protect him while making him interesting enough is not the worst thing in the world. So, -1. Happy birthday, little one.
So we get the worst rendition of "Happy Birthday" sung in the world, which I believe AEW could get sued for because the copyright to "Happy Birthday" is trademarked, and that's why if you go to a restaurant, they don't sing "Happy Birthday" to you. It is actually a trademarked song. Do you know who owns the trademark to "Happy Birthday"? I do.
I used to. Is it Trump?
No.
Okay.
It was owned by the Beatles. And when Michael Jackson bought all the Beatles stuff, it's open. So "Happy Birthday" is owned by the Michael Jackson estate.
Okay. It's weird.
So Luther comes out and calls out the kid. And then we get our match. TH2 and Chaos Project versus the Dark Order with Paige. This was a good match. The match, Paige looked awesome. Paige looked amazing in this match.
Looked great. And this was fine. And I kind of should have go get Adam Page.
And at one point I looked, I go...
Hangman Page, sorry.
At one point I'm like, they moved the cake all the way outside the ring. How's anybody's face going to go into it? And welcome to my wouldn't you know it, Luther, who's... I can't think of who he reminds me of from old WWE days, but I hated that character then. He's near the cake. -1 knocks him upside the head with the kendo stick. Then he gets thrown into the cake. After the match, so they continue the match.
Yeah.
Okay, Dark Order wins.
Dark Order wins. They want Paige to be part of the Dark Order, and Paige just says,
"No,
I can't." And then he takes his flask and he walks off.
Right. Well, they did this whole preemptive. He said yes.
So the whole thing is he goes, "All right, here's my answer." And what happens is this big banner drops, "Welcome to the Dark Order," balloons, confetti starts going off, and he's like, "I can't." And then, was it Silvers?
Yeah.
Silvers is just like, the hell, man?
Right. So, after that, -1 comes back out.
I did not see this.
This is the part you're going to love. So, -1 comes out, and he's like, tells all of his guys, "Let's go, you've embarrassed me." And he goes, "And my birthday was 3 days ago. Get out of here."
I do remember that. Yes, okay.
And he yells at them as they all leave the ramp.
So we just had 4 grown men emasculated by a 12-year-old.
Which you said you were hoping he was going to be the voice.
I said I was hoping that he would be the Dark Order remains, I wanted him to be, Harry Osborn. And what I'm getting is he's just a hairy sack. And I'm not liking it.
Well, I think they're going to peel back a little bit.
Okay.
So then we go backstage with Marv and MJF and Jericho. MJF says that Marv's breath smells horrible. And MJF says, Chris, are you worried that this match tonight is going to destroy us? And Chris is like, no, we made a pact. This is just business. The guys are going to be fine. Oh, the way they're sowing the seeds.
So Jericho's thing is that this will bring us together.
Yes, it'll bring us closer.
Yes.
Nothing like beating each other up for closeness. All right.
Well,
So,
you know what? We've seen people beat the shit out of somebody for 8.5 months and then peel the mask off and be like, I'm joining them. We saw Bubba Ray get his ass beat for 9 months by all the evil Aces and Eights people before he decided to be like, I'm the leader.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you saw this, Madison Rain has quit, or she's retired. The commentary team now for Impact is Matt Stryker and D'Lo Brown.
Why'd she dip?
She wants to concentrate on being a mother and a wife, and Josh Matthews became the vice president of executive talent or something like that.
It's like all the people who got fired for WWE for being incompetent are now somehow competent enough to be in charge of a wrestling company.
So Tony's in the ring. Sting wants to congratulate Darby. It starts to snow.
Oh my God! I saw this.
Here comes Sting.
I had to watch it because it's my guys.
Here comes Sting. Here comes Darby. And I'm looking at Darby and I'm like, yep, he's definitely from Seattle.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt he's from Seattle.
Yeah.
Sting, you remind me of you. You remind me of me. I want to congratulate you. And then comes Taz.
Nope. No. In comes Taz's video.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Here comes Taz.
Because he's on the Jumbotron.
You didn't let me finish. Here comes Taz on the monitor.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I was so fired up about this awfulness. Like I said, it's my guys, so I had to watch it.
We came to wrestle, and you started a street fight. You want a street fight?
I'm from
the streets.
Taz,
we are honorable. You are hooligans.
You are from a street. Everyone is from the street. Just because you're from New York does not mean that you are a street.
Taz goes, check my history.
They paid UFC fighters through blowjobs and pills given out by Tammy and other people so that way they would let you choke them out in the ring.
Let's take this to the street. Sting whispers in the air. Darby says, or Sting...
Darby finally speaks and says...
Be careful what you ask, you might get what you want.
And they don't have a rush. They don't have anything happen. They just like...
Fade to black.
Get out of the ring and walk out.
So... This was
awful.
Is Sting wrestling?
So... I can confirm by this because I had to go look it up, and I don't know if it's 100% accurate because, as I said, I'm getting secondhand knowledge, and I forgot to look.
Oh, you mean you didn't go to Sting yourself and pay the $30,000 for the cameo?
No. So they announced on Twitter, on AEW's Twitter, that Sting and Darby will have a street fight match against these fuckers.
So that makes sense though if it's a cinematic.
The only, and oh god, that was the other thing too. I was like, it's going to be a fucking cinematic.
It's
match
cinematic.
It
protects.
Because these people can't do regular matches. You think a cinematic match is going to work for this? Like this is not going to be very good.
Here's the thing: if the match is a real match,
and on top of that, Darby, I like you, but like, when have we not seen Darby get his head busted open and bleed all over the place?
So if we have this match, I would trust Brian Cage.
I would not trust Hobbs.
Exactly. I would trust Brian Cage. I've seen what he can do in Lucha Underground. I've seen what he could do on Independence.
Brian Cage is a beast. And yes, I think Sting...
He would hold someone on the way down and it wouldn't look like he's holding him.
Hobbs has been in the business, what, a year?
Right. And I would not trust...
He is going to Goldberg Sting... Because he's going to throw a kick or a big, haymaker, and he's going to break Sting's neck, and we're going to see a death on TV.
And I wouldn't trust discount dollar store Ricky, The Rock, Ricky Starks.
No, Starks is not going to be able to do anything. So yes, He is the only one, I believe, who has the strength, the technical ability, and to a point the experience to be able to properly put Sting down without murdering him.
So it's got to be cinematic.
It's going to have to be a cinematic
It's going to
match.
snow.
And the most important thing to point out, too, is this will not happen until their next scheduled pay-per-view, which will happen in March. This is not going to be on next week's show, from what I understand.
No. It's not. It's going to take a while. Well, the next special show is the beach show in February where the wedding is. So
yes, but they're waiting for their next pay-per-view, from what I understand.
all right. So then we go to the Jacksons want to confront Kenny. What's going on? What is going on? And then they go into Kenny's house. They're walking through Kenny's house, and Don Callis is like, "Follow me, follow me, follow me."
Well, remember too, they said we tried to call,
right?
And Don says, "Oh yeah, Kenny changed his number about 2 weeks ago. Don't worry, you guys know where the house is at."
So we see this painting, and so you got to see that online.
Oh yeah, I cannot believe that they actually paid someone to paint that.
You're going to see it here on the
YouTube.
YouTube.
It is right here.
On the YouTube.
Yes, on our YouTube feed you will see this.
So there was that. And then he tries to write, you saw that when he tried to write him a check?
Yes.
And
then they're like, this is not enough. So he goes, okay, I'll write another one.
He goes, and this was the line of the night. "That company you're the vice president of, we used to work there. We know those checks are no good."
Yes, which is hilarious because that means the show that they're in partnership with just got massively shit on by the people they're working with.
But can you deny its truth?
So technically, can you say it was Impact or can you say that was Dixie Carter?
Yeah, well,
because Dixie Carter and Panda's checks were not clearing because they didn't have enough money because Mommy and Daddy cut her off. Impact, I don't know, since the buyout, have they had problems with finances?
No,
since they moved over to...
I don't think so.
What are they on, Access TV or something?
Okay, did you see the Cody Rhodes match?
I did see the Cody... Oh, by the way, before we skip out of this, is this the part where they, like, confront him and then you hear screaming from Don Callis, or is that later?
That's later.
Okay, this was all shown in one block when I saw it.
Yeah, so then we have...
We have
Peter
Avalon.
Peter Avalon versus Cody.
Yeah, we saw that stupid cock
who's
was the
porn,
same guy.
Porn stash dude from the 70s.
Well, that's the same fucking guy that took the dice spot from What's His Nuts on the Dark show that I lost my mind about.
Oh, okay. This was my first time actually seeing him.
So Peter Avalon looks like porn star Luigi. His picture's right here.
He look good. Ric Flair porn star. All right.
Discount Ric Flair porn star. He actually looks like one of the people that my parents used to know who was an ex-porn star by the name of John Stone, who ended up running a adult video gallery back in the area that we were at. That's what he looked like. I believe that man died of a heroin overdose.
So this is Pretty Peter Avalon.
If anybody from back home remembers Dr. Feelgoods, the little porno bar that was down there, I believe John was actually the founder and owner of that that specific place. Correct me if I'm wrong for people back in West Virginia.
So the bell rings, we have a crossroads, and here comes Jade.
And
we get a low blow by Pretty Peter. Pretty Peter suplexes Cody.
And then there's a low blow, but then there's another 8-minute match.
And then we go to commercial, and then then we have the rest of this 8-minute match.
This match is what, 9 minutes?
The match was 9 minutes.
Okay. So why did Cody Rhodes have to have a legitimate contest with freaking porn stash?
So here's what I said to Dad. Well, I guess Cody can't work with everyone. Because this one did not work.
This was...
the way this
it wasn't the worst,
but the way it ended. So he gets him in a figure four, and the cool thing Rhodes has been winning his matches with different moves. It's not always a crossroads, Mm-hmm. So he gets in the figure four. He gets it reversed. He brings it back over. Pretty Peter smacks him across the face. So Cody rears back to smack Peter, and he like cringes into a little ball because he didn't want to get slapped. The match was not executed well. Cody gets the crossroads and wins. He taps out. He taps his meat. He's like, I'm gonna smack you, and then he's like, no, I tap. Let me out. So then FTR comes out.
900,000 people. So actually, it's more like 600 and something. I think it was only 900,000 when Sting showed up. So 700,000 people are watching this.
So FTR wants to talk. So it's FTR. We're number one. We just need the belts. They're not wrong. Here comes Jurassic Express. They say, you may be the best wrestlers, but I, Jungle Boy, could be either one of you. Dax, the balding one, says to him,
who is a legitimate badass.
Right. Who is your age. Says, don't let the salt and pepper fool you, kid. I'm not one of those wrestlers you play wrestling in the ring with. So there's going to be a...
Dax will fucking destroy you.
Well,
Did you see what he did to the guy in Hall of Fame?
Right.
One shot! Down!
We'll find out next week.
How did he not have a job for life for saving Bret Hart's soul that night when he just lifted that motherfucker out of his boots?
Because Vince doesn't like tag teams.
Vince doesn't like anything, apparently. He doesn't even like Roman at this point.
Now Moxley's going to have a match.
God dang it to everything.
He fights a caveman.
This pissed me off so much.
The guy's name is Nick Hamaramahama.
Okay.
The guy can bench 600 pounds. And this is the only person that would agree to wrestle Jon Moxley.
He also came out in a straitjacket, if I remember correctly.
He's a student of the Nightmare Family. And he holds an accounting degree.
Okay, yes. So also, this guy...
They kept referencing Broser Broody for him.
Of course they did, because of the way he looks, which I think was the idea that they were trying to do with him. So he is part of the mass hack and slash that happened with WWE over the summer for COVID cutbacks. He was at the Performance Center.
Okay.
This dude, from what I understand, and I've seen him because I looked up his Twitter account, his pictures right here.
Or it was earlier, but yeah.
This dude, as I understand, has a ton of potential, and he's very good. And he had a 4-minute match with Moxley. It was
3 minutes, 57 seconds.
4 fucking minutes, okay? See, this is what happens when I watch your show. I commit things down. And my God, this dude looked unique. He was jacked. He could work. And they put him in there with Moxley. The only thing that didn't happen is Mox did not do his stupid out-the-brawl bullshit, I got busted open stuff. But then he beats him with a sleeper hold for no fucking reason, and then cuts a 5-minute promo about how he's a badass. Why didn't this dude fucking have a 10-minute match with Cody, and Peter Jackoff Avalon have a 3-minute squash match with Moxley? That would have made sense if Moxley would have gone to have hit him if he would have cowered like a little bitch. Instead of a caveman who looks like...
You've got a point. The
man looks like those strongman people who just pick up boulders and throw it over his head.
You have a point. I looked at it.
And why does Jon Moxley need to be built up that he beat a caveman? We know Jon Moxley's a badass.
Wow, you've changed my mind a little bit.
Did that dude not look really good? And Moxley had a different match.
Yeah, well, that was
a stupid ending.
The thing I wrote was, he's giving Moxley a huge run for his money, and oh wow, the entire match took place in the ring. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
Moxley wins with the sleeper. He was in it for less than 10 seconds before he
goes out, and then they do this, and then Moxley...
But he was still on his feet! And the referee's like, he's out, but he's on his feet!
He's out on his feet. And Moxley cuts a fucking 5-minute promo about how he's the baddest man in the world, and how he's going to come after Kenny, and all roads to wrestling lead through him. Apparently he has a very large tunnel that people can pass through, because he got hit with a microphone and lost his belt.
Yeah, really. Now he wants to talk. Great. I can't keep track of all the things going on here. The Bullet Club, the Elite, Impact. I love it.
Just let Moxley be a promo. If that's all he can do is talk, just let Moxley talk. Put him on commentary and get that fucking goober off of commentary and just have him talk with Shoney Shivani and just let him cut promos. Because this was this was WWE style of booking a new talent, of going, oh my God, Keith Lee's here, and 30 seconds later the match is over.
Right.
That's what that was. This was awful.
So then we had Eddie Kingston backstage, because I don't prepare, I just fight.
This wasn't bad.
Eddie Kingston, I believe pretty much everything he says the way he. That's
one thing. If you go back and look at our draft show, there's a moment where I point to Joseph and I'm like, this guy, or this guy. And Eddie Kingston is in that list of this guy, or this guy.
Eddie Kingston, he makes you believe the things he says.
Does he have Tommy Dreamer style quality of how he's so passionate about his ass kicking that you buy the fact that this dude's an ass kicker?
This guy could shear poodles on the weekend and live in Beverly Hills and live. But the way he says,
I'm going to fight you.
Yeah, you truly believe what he comes with. He has passion.
Yes,
he has
absolutely
passion. And then I wrote, and here comes Lance Archer. They're going to have a dick measuring contest.
I think the other guy that's right, because we called him Ron Archer. It's like, who is Ron Archer? And I'm like, yeah, that's a good pick. And I'm like, who?
So then we have Kenny. Why were you at my house? This huge makeup bruise.
Oh my God. Callis looked like, I cannot believe they did a Lifetime movie battered wife skit where it's like, Dawn, what happened? You need to talk to me. No, it's okay. Nothing happened. I just fell. What happened? Did something happen with the Young Cucks? No, it's okay, Kenny. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. This was the segment I was talking about where they cut everything together for my show on the recap I watched. And yes, Callis has got makeup for a bruise across his face, and he's acting like the Young Bucks beat him up. And he's telling Kenny,
I don't want to tell you that it's them.
I can't tell you what happened, Kenny. Everything's okay. I just walked into a door frame.
All right, so then we have Top Flight with Matt.
Abuse is not funny, people.
Top Flight with Matt Sydal versus Private Party and Big Money Matt.
This was the one I saw that was my opener on my recap that I saw, and the only thing I have to say about this is this was fucking botchamania.
Some of the timing is not so good. First comment.
This was awful.
Marty keeps getting knocked off the ropes. Silly string didn't work. That's these guys. Silly string didn't work. I'm like, wow, a grown man just had to say that.
God, the fact that they're having Jim Ross have to say this shit. Jim Ross has got to be looking at his bank account and going, okay, yeah, that works.
then you could tell JR's over it because he side effects everyone, tries to pin all three at once, and JR says, he got 3-2 counts, that's 6.
Fuck this show. Can we be done with it? We've got a whole mess of shit to get through.
So MJF comes out to talk to everyone.
Oh my God, I forgot there was more. I forgot about the three-way.
So MJF comes to talk without Chris. Again, it is being sewn perfectly. If it was up to me, we wouldn't do this match. But Chris is the leader, and we have to do what he says.
Is it being sewn perfectly? Because we, the audience, are smarter than them, the wrestlers.
Sammy gets all pissed, and MJF actually talks sense to him, and everyone is digging except Sammy. But
I know we're reviewers and critiquers, and we're smarks and things like that. But if we've seen it 6 weeks ago, how does Chris Jericho, who's a 25-year veteran, not go, that guy's about to fuck me?
Because he's dumb and drunk with power. He's drinking all the Le Champion.
He is literally...
the champagne.
Chris Jericho has gone from the first 15 minutes of Scarface to the last 15 minutes of Scarface like that. Where he is this incredible... and then he's like... You fucking come at the mother, I'll kill you all! Like, what the hell?
But before we have to watch that... Before we get to watch that, because the main event was actually really good. Before we get to that, we get to watch Penelope Ford versus legit Taylor Hirsch.
Skip it.
Penelope Ford cannot wrestle. She should not wrestle, and she should just be arm candy for what's his face, her boyfriend. It's Miro at the end of it.
Oh God, I forgot he was involved in this too.
So she cannot Okay, Ford has. I'm gonna read you what I wrote. Ford has no wrestling ability that I've ever seen. Has the least amount of wrestling ability that I've ever seen. Dad says she's the Lana of AEW. She cannot transition from move to move if they paid her. Oh, wait. They do. My bad.
Lana's actually better than her.
Penelope wins. Hirsch was screwed. Miro then tells Chuck to tell Cassie that Miro's his new best friend.
Remember, glass ceilings, brass rings.
The Good Brothers.
Your creativity was being stifled, and this is who you really are.
Good Brothers and Omega steal one of Penta's boots for some reason. All right, main event. The three-way dance.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, you have Jericho and MJF. You have Sammy Hagar. And then we have...
Thanks for that, Chris. Because that's your doing.
Ortiz and... I can't remember what their tag team... It's not LAX. But it's basically... It's LAX without calling it LAX.
Yeah.
So Sammy and Jericho start. Sammy's working Jericho over really good. The sex gods are no more. So says JR. Ortiz does do a drop kick that missed by approximately 9 inches. I've noticed something in AEW. The 5-second rule of a tag team match is non-existent. It does not exist. You can be in there as long as you want. The referee doesn't even try counting you out for 5 seconds.
I'd like to say that this is not inherent to everywhere else, but it is.
At least some places try. Like, they don't even try to enforce it.
At least, I mean, honestly, I'd rather them just not enforce it so it gets out of people's minds as opposed to WWE, like where the ref just like 3, 4, my shoe.
So somebody watched SmackDown because Jericho gets his bat and then Hager kicks it out of his hand.
Also, why do we have multiple people with bats?
MJF tries to get his ring and he gets punched by Hager. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They announced there's a minute of TV time left. Okay. So MJF gets the pin on Sammy with help from Hager. JR's trying to ask what happens. What the heck just happened? Fade to black. Like, they ran out of time. So, much like...
Didn't they have a 3-minute run over on this?
If they did, it still ran to black. They probably did.
Okay.
So the Fallout obviously is coming next week because Jericho and MJF did win, and MJF did pin Sammy.
Yes, but
that match was 12 minutes and 33 seconds.
What we thought should happen
is Hager should have won,
but didn't happen. Was that we called it that Chris and MJF would win. And MJF would console the losers.
Right, which will be next week.
When Jericho would be celebrating.
Right, well, that's what we thought was going to happen.
But MJF scored the pin. Which...
doesn't make sense for the story that they were telling. So let's talk...
a rare misstep.
You know what? With that story, that is the only rare misstep. That story. So, overall, AEW was probably about a 2.5-star show. They've had much better ones. They have had worse, sad to say. I didn't really think about it, but you're absolutely right. Swapping those two wrestlers with different people would have been a much better idea.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is I'm going to go and I'll listen to, like, Cornette or something. He's either A, going to say the exact same thing that I said, or B, go the complete opposite way and tell me, essentially, that I'm a fucking moron and this caveman is a piece of shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the only thing I could say is that I did find it funny, if we get a chance to go to it, that during the promo for one of the guys on the India show that aired this morning, they actually showed him in the background. And I went, I bet they forgot to cut him out.
Oh, nice.
Because it showed one of the guys in the training center and he gives a bump to the big... And I'm like, that's that big jacked up caveman sumbitch.
All right, so we're going to move to NXT.